Everybody likes getting gifts, except maybe baseball players when you're deciding on their future. Do you want a gift given to you, or do you want to earn your spot? Evan Carter wants no gifts, and this time he didn't get one. We'll talk about it next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. Yeah, some say demoted. The Rangers and baseball's vernacular, the nomenclature there says optioned. They had an option to move Evan Carter to the minor leagues, and the Rangers did it at this point in the season. Hi there, and welcome into the DLLS Sports Studios. Welcome to the DLLS Rangers podcast. John Radigan here, Jeff Wilson there, the Prophet over there. We're back in our off-season time slot. And it's officially, I guess, Jeff, it's the last day of the off season.
Sure is, John, and it's a great day. Tomorrow, one of the holiest days of the baseball season. Should be a national holiday. The Japan thing last week, that's not opening day. All right, nobody really thinks of that as opening day. And
5 o'clock in the morning.
I don't even think MLB thinks of it as opening day. So anyway. Yeah, let's get ready. Spring training and the exhibition games are over. Rangers have a workout today at 3, and then it's go time tomorrow at 3 p.m. against the Red Sox.
Yeah, it's really exciting because once again, and we'll talk about predictions and where people think the Rangers will end up as we go through the process. But once again, it looks like this is going to be a very good team. So much so that the Rangers made a decision that was that was one of the more difficult ones of the spring. And they made it based on the fact that one of the great rising stars, one of the best prospects in the organization, didn't perform, Jeff, well enough in spring training to earn a spot on the major league roster.
Yeah, he did. Evan Carter's who we're referring to, and no, he didn't. He had he was fine defensively, and when he was on the bases, Evan's a great base runner, super fastest guy on the team. So those weren't the issues. The issue is the bat, and what it comes down to, and what Bruce Bochy kind of warned really throughout the offseason is, look, Evan Carter missed a lot of time. He's a young player. You just can't jump back in there and expect to hit major league pitching, and he didn't. That's the bottom line. He didn't, and the body's fine. I double checked with him yesterday to make sure everything's fine. I mean, he played 9 innings, in back-to-back days.
Yeah.
So I mean, he is holding up. It just came down to the fact that he needs more time. He's not going to be able to help the team right now. And they expect that he will be helping the team at some point in the season. It's just not going to be on opening day. And Chris Young, really the last couple of times we talked to him, he's kind of downplayed the significance of the opening day roster. He understands it's an honor to break camp with the team, but within a week, a lot of these rosters start changing. Sure. And now if players on option can't be called up for a certain stretch of time, if somebody gets hurt, like Josh Young got hurt in the 4th game last year, right? If a pitcher gets hurt, if there's a Corey Kluber situation where he throws 1 inning and he's gone, the Rangers have guys that they can recall from. They can't recall from the minor leagues. They have to purchase their contracts. They have to be selected. It's very baseball, technical, inside baseball stuff. But rosters change soon, so yeah, it's nice to be on the open day roster. But if I'm Evan, I'm not feeling so bad. I think this was kind of hanging over him the last week to 10 days. I talked to him about it Saturday in Arizona, and he was like, well, whatever they decide, we'll be at peace with it and move on with it. And then I'll be damned if Chris Young, less than an hour later says he couldn't guarantee Evan's spot on the opening day roster or commit to it. So I think at that point it was kind of apparent which way they were headed. So he's going to go down. He hopes it's short. It may be a month. It may be longer. It may be a little shorter. But Evan Carter's going to the minor leagues to get right. He hasn't lost any stature within the organization. They still think he's going to be a great player, but right now he's not able to help them the way that they need to. They're contending.
Yeah.
They think that they're going to contend, and they want to win as many games as possible and have the 13 best position players who are going to help them do that, and Evan Carter is not one of them right now.
Yeah, and that is the main line. That's the main key to the whole thing right now is they plan to win, right? They plan to get this thing back in contention for the World Series. So in order to do that, you need the best players at all time. Now, the one thing is that Evan Carter does not view this, nor does the team view this as punishment, right? We sometimes think of it as, oh man, they're punishing him. No, they're not. He gets it, right? He saw the numbers. He knows what he did or didn't do with the bat in spring training, and he had all the right things to say when you guys talked to him yesterday, Jeff, about, I just got to get my timing right, and I think that this is the best thing for me. He can't be here. Look, either way, it's going to be a platoon situation in center field because neither he nor Leote have proven themselves against left-handed pitching. So Kevin Pillar is going to start center field games. In fact, possibly might start opening day because it's a lefty, Garrett Crochet, right? He's going to start against the lefties, and so if he's starting against the lefties, and you have two guys there who would split the time at starting at center field between the right, that's just not enough development for a guy as young and who is as inexperienced in his career as Evan Carter.
Yeah, look, he can go to AAA. Where you want the objective when the guys take the field is they want to win the game. Mm-hmm. But the minor leagues are about player development, and anybody who thinks that Evan Carter had it figured out after 61 at bats in 2023 and then 60 more in the postseason, he didn't. And then early last season he struggled because his back was not allowing him to swing the way he was swinging in 23 there. So you just miss a lot of development time. And Bruce Bochy was talking about that even last year. It's like, we hate that he's missing all this development time. You got to see pitches, especially when you haven't seen him at that level enough. And so anyway, Evan's going to go to AAA. He's going to play 5 or 6 days a week. They're off every Monday. He's going to play against left-handers or right-handers. He's going to see pitches. He's going to see guys at AAA who are really good pitchers who've been in the major leagues. You can look at the pitchers that the Rangers are sending to AAA and be like, man, this guy could probably be on a major league roster somewhere. So other teams will have that. You'll see more breaking balls. Pitchers will have better command. It'll be a challenge. It'll be a good opportunity, like he said, and like the Rangers believe, for him to get his timing, see the kinds of pitches he needs to see, be able to recognize the pitches. The most telling thing about Evan's stats wasn't the 1-something batting average. He struck out 15 times.
Yeah.
Evan Carter does not do that in 39 at bats. No. I mean, that's more than a third of the time that he was striking out. And when Evan Carter's right, he's not doing that at all. So get the timing back, see the pitches, see them well, and go from there.
Yeah, the nickname he earned when he got to the big leagues in 2023 was the Little Savior because, again, the season looked like it was spiraling downward, and he helped save it not only with his play but also with his propensity to listen to the Creed music that he listened to in the clubhouse, and that became an anthem for the team, right? So he earns the nickname the Little Savior, but he brought with him a nickname, Full Count Carter, right?
Right.
Because he was so discerning at the plate. Virtually every time he went to the plate, he ended up in a full count situation. So that wasn't, as a parent, that wasn't happening in spring training.
Yeah. And that was one thing, the last time he played was the Friday against the Angels. He might have played the Saturday. Anyway,
Yeah, I think
last
those
time I
were the
remember him
back-to-backs,
playing
yeah.
was Friday. And I was sitting next to Kevin Sherrington from the Morning News, and Kevin was like, "Was that a full count?" He was like, "Is he working counts?" And he had worked a couple, but even then, it seemed like he was tentative. He wasn't getting his swing off, so it just wasn't right. So you know what? It's time for him to get right. He knows it. Going down to AAA, like I said, they want to win. He's going to play a lot, but there's no pressure. There really isn't any pressure. All the pressure is going to be what he puts on himself, and if he keeps putting pressure on himself to get back as soon as possible, that's probably not the right approach. He needs to go down there and just play baseball. Have fun, do the things that he knows he can do, and if he does that, he'll be up, and he'll be up soon.
Yeah, it's human nature to press, right, when you are struggling. And Bruce Bochy even admitted and said at times it looked like Evan was pressing during spring training. He was, again, feeling the pressure, feeling the heat as he tried to make this roster. Now there's no pressure, no reason to press. Go there, and as they say, you be you, Evan Carter. Go there and just be who you are. Come back as full count Carter again, and things are going to work out great. The guy's got, as Ross Fenstermaker told us right here in this studio, he's got such a high baseball IQ, and that's a great place to start with a young guy.
Well, and that's what Boch said. I don't know if it was Monday or Tuesday. Said, first of all, Evan is smart. So if he's smart, then he knows that this is a good thing for him.
Yeah,
and he used the word pressure-free or stress-free was the term that he used. Stress-free environment. Go down there and just work his way back at his own pace. And there's a question: do we think Evan will be back by the All-Star break? I do. I really do. The center field situation looks to be Taveras and Pilar. If one of them doesn't perform, then they're going to move guys around and make the changes they need to upgrade the offense or upgrade a position or whatever. And if Evan is that solution, and there's the expectation that he will be, then Evan will be back. I mean, and it's not unusual for this to happen. It's happened to a lot of guys. It happened to Leody Taveras a couple times. It happened to Rougned Odor, famously in his first full season. He got sent down. He went to AAA and just was crushing the ball for a month. And then he came up and was really a great player for the next 2 seasons before things kind of fell apart with him. But so this isn't unusual, and it happens to the best of them. Alex Gordon. I can think Alex Gordon. If there's always a popular name in the Cactus League circles. The fantastic spring one year, went up, couldn't hit anything, had to be sent down by the Royals, and came back, and he became a solid all-star player. This guy. So he shouldn't have anything to hang his head about. It's not ideal. You have your place. He has a place here in the Metroplex, and I'm sure he was getting it set up, and then all of a sudden he's got to scramble and find a place to live in Round Rock, which I'm sure won't be as hard as he thinks it is. It's just kind of not the path that he was taking, and he's still only 22. All right, he's still only 22. He hasn't encountered a lot of adversity in his career, and so once he gets his mind around it, he has the faith, he has the baseball smarts. He's just a smart kid in general, so he's going to be fine.
Yeah, approach down there is everything. Who was it a few years ago at camp, found out he was going down and laid out on the
Oh, my God, it was Willie Calhoun.
Yeah, that's right, Willie.
Never forget that.
Right, yes.
Never will ever forget that.
And so I'm like, he is just not going to approach his minor league assignment with the right attitude. And ultimately, he did get back, and I think ultimately he got his head right. But the reality is that is not how you can do it, right? And that is not what Evan Carter did. He got the news and I'm going to Round Rock.
I'm laughing at it, and I love Willie. And last time I saw Willie, we get along great. And that spring, he had lost a lot of weight. I even went jogging with him one day. Before practice, it was me and Jay Stingler and John Daniels went for a run around that loop around the complex in Arizona, and he was great. And the Rangers had signed Hunter Pence in the offseason.
Yeah.
And it became apparent there was going to be Hunter Pence or Willie, and then it became really apparent it was going to be Hunter Pence. And everybody but Willie seemed to realize that. And boy, it was a disaster. His reaction, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
But anyway,
he got back.
Evan did not handle it like Willie.
No.
Callahan.
And see, so that's the key.
That's getting off on the right foot right there.
Yep. There's the key right there. You got to handle it right and thus get your approach right. And as they say, get your head right with ball. And that's exactly what Evan Carter plans to do. All right, more coming as we continue to talk through the roster news. There were other big decisions made yesterday that were also announced yesterday, and we talk about them next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. But
you know what, John? First, we got to talk about kind of it is a supplement that a lot of people can benefit from, especially some folks that are kind of our age. It's called Timeline.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not familiar with Timeline, it's, you mix it up and drink it, and it really attacks, it's about the building blocks of your body, which are the cells. And it mitochondria, it takes care of all this stuff, and really it gives you more energy, helps you with your appetite. It does all these things that old farts like John and I need. And it can help the young folks too. Sometimes these things even help you focus more. They just help you get your day off on the right foot a little bit better. And so, we can't tell you strongly enough that you need to go here. You need to check out Timeline. It's people putting this stuff together that are way smarter than we are. And so right now, Timeline is giving you 10% off your order of MitoPure. So go to timeline.com/DLLS to get started. That's timeline.com/DLLS.
You know what old farts like us also need? We need to look as cool as we possibly can. That's where Shady Rays comes in.
Atta
right
baby.
There, baby. Joe, I saw you requesting I throw the shades on again today. I didn't bring them. They're only about 25 feet away from me, but I didn't bring them over here to the set. But I'm going to keep them handy just for you, Joe, in the future. But I love them. Really love the Shady Rays, and I wore them here. I'll wear them home, and they're great designs. They're great styles. I promise you, they'll make you look cool. Not only that, though, they're really good. They're polarized. They're inexpensive, and if you use the code DLLS at ShadyRays.com, you get 35% off. That's a significant savings off a great pair of glasses at ShadyRays.com. All right,
Joe. Before we go, Joe is a good egg. He's taking care. He takes care of a really popular Facebook group for Rangers fans, and he also has a deal where he logs Rangers players by their jersey numbers, so he can give you like the all-time log. So anyway, it's good to have Joe watching.
Yeah,
and Joe, go ahead and tell your many thousands of Facebook followers to follow us too.
Yeah, we'd appreciate that big time. And yeah, we've got, by the way, and I think Joe might have been one of the ones having some issues with the TV situation. News on that coming up in the next segment of the show. I basically spent 2 days talking to the Rangers and to DirecTV directly to get this all figured out, and I think we have it. So that's coming in the next segment of the show. But first, we got to work through the rest of this roster stuff, Jeff, which is significant and not so surprising, although I think the biggest surprise was that not that Rocker and Leiter both made the club.
Yeah.
But that they were both named yesterday, even prior to the game. They were both named to the rotation.
Yeah, if John Gray and Cody Bradford hadn't gotten hurt, I don't know if either one of them is on the roster. It seemed like Jack had a really good shot to make the club as a reliever. And then maybe with what has unfolded with Dane Dunning and that other, that long spot in the bullpen, maybe you could have seen Kumar pitching in relief, even though it may not be best for his future. I don't know how often he's done it. He did it yesterday and was just fine. But anyway, the point is that the number 2 overall pick of the 2021 draft and the number 3 overall pick of the 2022 draft are in the Texas Rangers rotation. I mean, that's the dream right there, baby.
It is.
Developing homegrown starting pitching. Now, I don't know if they're ready. Frankly, I just don't know. The stuff they have great stuff. They really do. I mean, they both can get it up toward 100. The rocker curveball / slider, whatever he wants to call it, can be devastating. Jack has the kick changeup now that he's throwing, in addition to a sinker. They have like 5 or 6 pitches apiece. The question now becomes, all right, you're on the roster, you've made the team. How are you going to perform? The track record suggests, and it's not much of a track record, but Jack's is a little more extensive than Kumar's. So they got some learning to do here in the big leagues, and they need to do it quick. Jack Leiter is going to start the second game of the season,
right?
Yeah, and so you don't want to put the bullpen in a bad spot right off the bat. So the Rangers need to see him go out, command his pitches, be on the attack, be confident, have some presence out there. No more mumbling to himself. And you didn't see that in spring training. When he got in trouble in spring training, he was able to work his way out of it for the most part. And then Kumar was not very good his first 2 times out. Had a little awakening, I guess, in an intra-squad game after a session in the lab. Then he went back out and pitched again, and the numbers weren't good. But Mike Maddox said that the Padres starting lineup, it was their big guns in this start. They weren't hitting his fastball at all, and you saw that yesterday. You really saw it in that his best spring start, 4 2/3 innings, 8 strikeouts against the Rockies. Not exactly the 27 Yankees. Nevertheless, 8 strikeouts there, and then yesterday he was facing only minor leaguers essentially. He faced MJ Melendez, who's probably going to be in the Royals' plans, but he was beating them with fastballs and their the slider. They were really overmatched. But he needs to command his pitches too.
Sure.
If he can't do it, he's not any good. You saw that. Not any good. He's going to struggle. You saw that in his 3 starts last year. He could not command his slider, and so it was a little difficult for him those 3 times out. But again, he's going to start the 5th game, which will be the first game at Cincinnati, the first road game of the year. Night game. It could be chilly. He seems to be unbothered by just about anything, though.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that the Rangers really like. He's a competitor. He dials it in and just goes out there and shoves. So this is a good thing. I mean, it's bad that John Gray and Cody Bradford are hurt, but it's good that the Rangers' top 2 pitching prospects, if you will. I mean, I guess Alejandro Rosario is one of them, but he's obviously hurt. Their most advanced pitching prospects are in the rotation and making Kip Fagg and the draft crew look pretty good.
Yeah, and especially when you mention Rosario, and we've seen Emiliano Teodo, and we're ready for him, and Winston Santos. I mean, there are guys in this organization who are basically right there on the doorstep of major league ready. And here are 2 guys, and what the Evan Carter move proves to you is, again, after Cody Bradford and John Gray got hurt, these were among the 5 best starting pitchers, right? Mm-hmm. There were no gifts. If they weren't, they wouldn't be in the rotation. Evan Carter's not here, right? If those 2 guys weren't pitching well enough to make this rotation, there were other options.
Yeah, look, I mean, going into that start Friday for Rocker, I was told that he needed to have a good one, and the Rangers needed him to have a good one.
Yeah,
because look, say what you will about the roster decisions and whether you agree with them or not. These last ones that were made, the 40-man roster came into play here. There's no question.
Yeah,
about
that's
it.
true.
I mean, that was a huge situation. If Kumar Rocker had spit the bit Friday night, the Rangers would have been looking at Adrian Hauser, who's fine.
Yeah,
but he would have taken a roster spot and then added $2.5 million to the payroll, which doesn't sound like a lot, but again, these Rangers are being a little bit frugal at this point as they hover around the CBT. I think part of the reason why Dane Dunning was outrighted, put on outright waivers, Dane had the right to refuse the assignment, but he would have forfeited his $2.66 million contract.
Yeah.
Well, if he had done that, guess what? It would have been a wash. Just add Adrian Hauser to the roster, and the money's a wash.
Sure.
So there might have been some of that in play as well. But as it turns out for this roster, the Rangers only needed one 40-man spot, which was the Dunning move. A lot of people were like, well, why didn't Patrick Murphy make it? Why didn't your son Garabito make it? It's a fair question. Patrick Murphy apparently has been dealing with a pectoral issue and hasn't pitched in a while and wasn't going to be ready to start the season. So you got to have 13 healthy bodies. And the Rangers like what Garabito did. They watched him pitch in a minor league game, and he threw like 4 scoreless innings. So they re-added him to Major League camp. He didn't pitch great in the finale the other day. He was okay yesterday, but he's their length. He's the guy, and they feel like he can go out and give him some length. And but if he's no good, they're going to go get somebody. And
sure.
Adrian Hauser's right there.
Yeah.
To go get.
Yeah, and that was the question, was would either Rocker or Leiter end up in the bullpen as potentially a long guy? And instead they went with Garabito and
Mark Church.
That's right.
Who's not a long guy.
No, but
who just is great.
Yeah.
He had a great spring. He has, throws around 100, slider, a split. He's been great the last 2 springs. He was hurt last year. So there was some concern. I mean, at one point I was told that Mark Church was going to the minor leagues because they didn't want to rush him. Well, things changed.
Yeah.
Things change. And those 2 starting injuries had a trickle-down effect, boy. And, somebody asked, well, what happens with Patrick Corbin? Well, Corbin has agreed to be optioned. He's a veteran, so he had to agree to that. He's going to go to Round Rock, and he's going to make a couple starts. And the first day he can be recalled is April 11th. That's the first day any pitcher on option can be recalled. So the plan is to bring him up on the 11th. Okay, so what happens at that point? Well, you're going to have to create a rotation spot. Okay, so is it Leiter or Rocker?
Right.
Okay, all right. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to AAA.
No.
Yerson Garabito could very easily go to AAA, and Leiter or Rocker could slide into the bullpen. Because remember, the Rangers still need length. They're still worried about Molly a little bit, DeGrom, and even Rocker and Leiter. They probably have some concerns about them too, their innings and how many times they want them to face a lineup and all that jazz. So there are some opportunities for both of them, one of them, to remain in the major leagues when Patrick Corbin comes back. And then if Corbin's no good, which track record here might suggest he won't be, they can just slide right back in. And then if Corbin's no good and you release him, you're eating $1 million.
Yeah.
All right. And $1 million is chump change.
Yeah. And the reality is, if both of them are great in their first 2 or 3 starts, however many they'd get before April 11th, then Corbin may come in and be brought to the major leagues as a long man.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of possibilities. Sure, maybe they keep Garabito and say, Mark, you've been great, but go to the minor leagues because we need length. And Church did get 5 outs the other day, Monday's game, and that was the first time he'd really faced some real meaty bats. He did well against Bobby Witt. He gave up some hits. He got out of one jam. Garabito made it, Joe. I'm just saying that eventually it could come down to the Rangers getting rid of Garabito.
Yeah. And they did, right? I think that's the point. I think that's the point Jeff was making. It hit my ear just wrong at first too, Joe. I'm like, Garabito did make it, but he was talking about earlier in spring. Garabito got sent back down. Yeah. Then they had to recall him because of that. So anyway, that's where the confusion might have been there. But yeah, Garabito and Church were the final 2 named. And I think didn't CY name the 2 young kids in the rotation, and it wasn't until after the game that Boach said, "Oh, and by the way,
Church
the other
and
2 guys
Garabito."
are Church and Garabito."
Yeah, that was how it went down.
Yeah, that's how that played out.
And keep an eye on Jake Latz too. Jake Latz is not far away.
Okay. So there you go. Lots of options. And look, we know you can never get enough pitching. So it's good to have lots of options. That certainly has reared its head this spring. More to talk about, including the TV stuff. Have you had problems watching the Rangers Sports Network? I have, but I've got answers next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast.
The NCAA tournament in full swing. We got through the first weekend, and Sweet 16 is coming up. And if in Texas, well, I don't know. The Texas teams didn't do all that well, but there's a real good chance that the team you support is at SaturdayNeon.com. Saturday Neon signs. I mean, it's right there in the name.
Yep.
But they're LED neon signs. They're not the old glass and metal and gas and all that stuff. It's a new, more durable, more efficient way. These things last forever. So about 50 colleges and universities have their product at Saturday Neon. They've done some NBA stuff too. So these are good guys, college buddies who are like, hey, let's do this, see how it goes. We like decor, we like sports bars, we like drinking and having fun, and you need a neon sign. So use the code DLLS at SaturdayNeon.com and get 10% off.
Last week I coined a phrase, let's game time this bitch. And if you want to go to opening day, you're going to have to game time this bitch. Because there's not a lot of tickets left. You can't go to the Rangers and get a ticket to opening day, but you can go to game time. It's one of those secondary markets for tickets, but here's the deal. They don't have the huge fees. Over the weekend, my son and his gal were trying to get tickets to one of the comedians coming, the shirtless guy, and Bert Kreischer. And all of a sudden they were on one of the other apps, and it was going to be $120 in fees. I said, oh, my God. Game time this bitch. And they did. And there were no, I mean, there were fees, but nowhere near that. That's the thing with game. And I think the fees that were charged weren't game times. They don't charge fees. DLLS is the code. Game time's the website, and you get $20 off your first purchase.
Yeah, tickets right now on Game Time. The cheapest looks to be $88 in the corners.
For opening day?
Upper deck corners, yeah. That's not bad. And that price is like what you pay. There's nothing hidden beyond that.
Yeah. So it's great. We appreciate you, and we appreciate Game Time. And so the TV thing, man, it was all a thing. So we were at the deal on Monday, and I had not been able to watch I haven't been able to watch the Rangers on my DirecTV stream or on my DirecTV box. I've got, I stream it at one place, and I have a full.
No, so this is on RSN, right?
Yeah, I couldn't watch when they were on RSN.
Yeah,
I was able to watch the games that were on 33.
Yeah.
You can do that with rabbit ears, and ultimately, I mean, because I'm like so many of you, I'm ridiculous with how many services I have. Ultimately, I watched the Rangers on Fubo. On those days.
All right.
So Fubo was working, but my DirecTV wasn't. And so I went to Angie Swint, who's the major domo of all this TV stuff with the Rangers, and she was unaware that anybody from the DirecTV customers were having any issues. And then I told her, well, we've seen quite a few in our chat and through social media that are having similar difficulties. So it was great of the Rangers. She put me in touch with one of their people, and then that person put me in touch with somebody at DirecTV directly. And so basically what it boils down to for you, if you aren't getting the Rangers on DirecTV, call DirecTV and make sure you upgrade your package to choice or above. And it's as simple as that. And I actually haven't done it yet since I have other options, although I intend to. And I don't know what the price difference is going to be. For me, it's worth it. I'm going to pay the difference and get mine upgraded to choice. And they, in my case, I was getting the Bally package previously. And the Rangers always have been and are still under the impression that if you had the Bally package on DirecTV, you will get the regional sports network. And that is supposed to be the way it is. They feel like maybe I got my Bally comped through Bally. I don't think so because they're so cheap, but I don't know how that all went down. I do know this, that if you get the choice package or above, which is, it's an incremental price increase, right? It's not like you don't have to buy a new service, just a slightly higher tier. you'll have the Rangers games on the RSN. And it was great that the two different DirecTV people called me, and I talked to a couple of different Rangers people, and I know this, that their main thing is to get you to see the game. So if you're still having trouble, reach out to us. I'll be an emissary for this, or just reach out to the Rangers, because, man, that is their stated goal. They want nothing more than to not have the crap that all of us had to endure, and I was right there on the front lines of it when you couldn't watch Bally, right, for 3 or 4 years, whatever it was. They weren't carried locally, so you couldn't watch the games, and it was so frustrating for everybody. No one more so than the Rangers. The Rangers will do anything they can to make sure that all of us are able to see the games. Now, there's an issue, apparently, we've heard it through the chat too and through our social media accounts, with Uverse. Apparently, and the Rangers are now aware of that one too, thanks to you, thanks to me. And with that one, it is simply a matter of doing a hard reset on the Uverse box that exists with, connected to your television. And ironically, both Uverse and DirecTV are AT&T products.
Yeah.
So it is interesting and ironic that there's the ones where there are some difficulties, but I think those are simple solutions to both of those problems, Jeff. One, reset your Uverse, essentially your cable box, whatever you'd call that. A hard reset on that should render you able to get the RSN. And then as far as DirecTV goes, if you don't have the choice package, it won't be available to you. And so there you go.
John, we're still of the era where the best thing to do sometimes is just unplug the son of a bitch.
Right.
And see what happens.
Yep.
And it still works these days. So that's great information. I mean, it's you don't want to miss opening day.
No, and that's the thing. And that's why I really wanted to, and I was glad that the DirecTV people, and they were calling from area codes I didn't even recognize, so they were all over the place, and they were calling to make sure we got it right. And I said, look, man, I'm not, I am a customer, but I'm not just a customer. I'm a customer who has the ability to disseminate this information. So let's make sure that we get it as right and as simple as we can. And that's about as simple as it is. Reset your Uverse box or get the choice package or above on DirecTV. And then if you or if I, when I upgrade to choice, don't get the Rangers Sports Network, by God, we're storming the castle. I mean, I'm telling you, we're getting torches and we're going to storm the damn castle.
Hey,
you with me?
Do it. Yeah.
Come on.
I'm with you.
Well, I'll get on horseback.
I have that DirecTV stream, and I haven't checked because I haven't had to.
Sure, yeah.
I've been at the games where they were on the stream. So I guess Saturday. I'm going to take Saturday off.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Saturday off. So Saturday will be my first instance. Now, if the kids and the wife want to watch it, well, maybe they can take care of the hard work for me, but hopefully it just shows up. Yeah,
I hope it does too. The game Friday, of course, is on Channel 33 locally. It's part of the RSN, broadcast family.
Oh, that's right.
But it's on locally. It's a Friday game, so you can watch that one on 33. So that's really cool. And, again, sometimes on the Fubos of the world and all those, it's not always easy to find a Channel 33, but it's there. And, again, that's something you literally could watch with rabbit ears. So remember that. And remember that all 150, I believe it is, games that are available right now on the RSN, that number could be slightly adjusted lower. Right now, it's 150 games that are available on Rangers Sports Network, RSN. Every one of those is available on Victory Plus. And that is, a $100 subscription for the entire season. But you would have access to every one of those games. And I have Victory. At this point, I haven't paid the $100 yet because I have these other options to watch the games, although the DirecTV one wasn't really there for me. The Fubo one was, and we But I mean, I watch the Stars on Victory all the time, and so it's a great app. And if you have any issues with any of those other ones, I promise you, $100 for the season is cheaper than you're going to pay with any of those other guys, because you have to buy a full subscription.
Right, and it's like you said, because you lived it. It's not any fun.
No,
doing your job when nobody is watching.
Right.
And you guys did great work, and kept grinding and doing what you could do, and I appreciate it because I had Uverse or whatever I have, DirecTV, and was able to have Bally.
Yeah,
but so many people have been missing so much baseball, and the World Series year. A lot of people didn't see any games.
Yeah. Well, in fact, our buddy TR, I saw he tweeted this spring, and TR Sullivan, who's a longtime beat writer and then MLB.com writer and all that stuff, and was the guy who basically trained Jeff over here to become the beat writer, the great beat writer that he's become. But TR, and he was on the beat for how long, Jeff? 25, 30
32 years.
32 years. Anyway, he tweeted one of the first games that was on RSN, he tweeted, "I'm in Plano, Texas, and I'm watching Texas Rangers baseball, something I haven't been able to do since I retired." So that's amazing, and it's great. And that's what the Rangers want. Believe me, that is their stated goal. That's their mission with this whole RSN, is to make sure that you can see the games. Couple things I actually did talk to Angie and some others about regarding the broadcast. I really do like the score bug. We always used to call it the Fox box, right?
Okay.
But I like the score bug. It's bigger. It's easier to see. It's clear. And my buddy who produces the games, physically produces the games, said they've only begun to scratch the surface on what they can do with that. As far as information and that sort of thing that they can release through a little, a drop down or drop out box, as it were, through that score bug. So they've got big plans. The Rangers wanted this to look not necessarily different, but they wanted it to look better than it had on Bally. And I will say this, that part right there, it's clean, man. I think it's cleaner than it was on Bally.
The thing I like about their approach to this is that they didn't shoot for the moon. All right. The moon for them is just getting the games on.
Yep.
All right. Which is a big deal in and of itself. And now they can start to slide things in, make tweaks here and there. Yep. But the basic thing is, hey, let's get our games on the air before we start doing any of these bells and whistles. Because again, as we just talked about, all the people who missed out, now they get to see the games. That's probably good enough for a lot of them. You don't have to blow them away with graphics or anything. Just show them the damn game. Yeah. But now that they're into the season and have a comfort level with getting the games on the air, now they can start to experiment, if you will, and see what sticks.
Yeah, and the point of them, making money, right, on this and making sure that they are profitable. And I've always believed, they were getting $110 million from Bally for the rights to broadcast the game. I believe the Rangers can make that or more. I think maybe even significantly more per year if they do this right. Well, they've done one thing right already, and that was to get a title sponsor.
Right. I was just going to mention that. Yeah.
That's Progressive, right? So, and essentially, ironically, Progressive is the equivalent to Bally. Bally didn't own us. They had nothing to do with it. We were owned by Sinclair Television and then Diamond Sports Group. And Bally just bought naming rights for the network. Well, that's essentially what Progressive has done. The Rangers, wisely, are not letting them have, it's not called Progressive Network. It's called RSN, presented by Progressive.
And so that's great. We'll probably end up seeing a lot of Flo and Dr. Rick. The Dr. Rick commercials are fantastic. But anyway, I'm all for it. And there's so many ways to make money.
Right.
They can sell probably the naming rights for the postgame show, or
absolutely,
the RSN Network postgame show.
100%.
And there's so many different avenues to make money, kind of like us here at DLLS.
Yeah.
We could sell a segment.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure the great Sandy's working on it as we speak.
Absolutely.
And so,
in fact, speaking of selling the post-game show, the most ironic bit of the whole Bally thing ever was that our post-game show was the Frontier post-game show. Frontier. And Frontier is a cable company that didn't clear us. You couldn't watch the games on Frontier, and yet they were the title sponsor of the post-game show. What the hell? Oh, yeah, look at there's the Queen over there. Queen was with us at Bally. It's the kind of thing that just had us all, our heads were likely to spin right off our body. All right, there it is again. He's ringing the bell twice. We got to answer the bell, damn it. We're answering the bell. We've got the cleanup segment coming next, DLLS Rangers podcast. There you go, Die Hard. That's me.
Uh-huh.
That's one of, I think both Jeff and I, this is a favorite. This is a good
I'm
one.
wearing Texas Chew underneath my pullover. But
okay. Which is the same color. I like the color of both.
As you know, I'm chilly.
You're always cold.
I'm always cold.
He's always cold. We love the merch. You should too. 2 new baseball shirts coming out. One of them's this color, I think, right? Didn't you get? It looked like one of them was.
I thought they were the Sunday blue, the baby blue.
Well, one is for sure the baby blue.
Hey, there we go.
Oh, look.
Are they
We're
up?
releasing them.
Oh,
man.
Son of a biscuit.
Yeah, so I think the Hello Win column
All right.
is
Let me go.
is this color. Jeff's going to order them.
Let me go to store.allcitynetwork.com right now.
Jeff's going to have those bad boys ordered before the show is over.
Yeah, probably not.
Store.allcitynetwork.com is the place to go to get those shirts. So did we have them up long enough? One says Hello Win column. The other says it's baseball time in Texas. And I'll have both, as will Jeff, very soon. The Hello Win column one is the one that's this color, and the baseball time in Texas is the Sunday blues. I mean, I don't know that I have a T-shirt that's that blue and that light blue. So now I will, and you should too. Store.allcitynetwork.com. Also, one of those could be your free T-shirt if you become a diehard. And we encourage you to do that, because if you become a diehard, $79.99, it's a cheap price. It really is. And you can get all the content that we put behind the paywall. You get a free T-shirt every year. And you also get 20% off of our events coming up, including our golf tournament, which is April the 25th at the beautiful Stevens Park Golf Course over there in the beautiful area of Dallas. It's just a fantastic spot over there. You should get your tickets and get 20% off by becoming a diehard. Did you get your shirt yet?
No, but thanks for covering that, because I'm pretty dang close.
You're deep into it.
I'm deep into it.
So we get to the cleanup segment. Man, there is a lot here, and there will be, because, baseball teams are getting busy. They're getting busy with it. And the first one is that the Seattle Mariners have secured, arguably the best catcher in the division for a long time. Cal Raleigh, Jeff, signs a 6-year, $105 million deal.
That's a big deal.
It is. For a catcher, it's a big deal.
That's a big deal for the Mariners, and then for the rest of the West and the rest of the league. He won the Platinum Glove last year. They call him Big Dumper, which is a pretty good nickname.
Yeah.
He hits a lot of home runs, switch hitter, good defensive guy. Won't hit for a ton of average, but he's a threat. And yeah, he's one of the best in the game. So that's a big deal. You look around the division and see who's spending money and who's doing what, and getting him for less than $20 million a year is a pretty good deal for the Mariners.
It is. And again, we talk all the time, and it's not just because of him, but we talk about how good that Mariners rotation is, and it's great. And most of it, the reason it's great is because they have really good arms and really good pitchers in there. But the catcher contributes, I mean, the catcher's a significant part of that process. And so you have to give Cal Raleigh credit for some of the success that pitching rotation, the entire pitching staff has had with the Seattle Mariners. So, there's more to it for him than that. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. And with that pitching staff that they have, they've got a good guy in position to oversee it.
Yeah,
for
sort of
several
shepherd
years.
it. He's the shepherd of all those sheep in the pitching rotation and the pitching staff. Okay, sad news now. Jordan Montgomery, our buddy from 2023, who we all would have loved to see re-sign for 2024, and many were really hoping that the Rangers were able to trade for him in the offseason and get him, get the Diamondbacks who signed him last year to pay part of the salary and bring Jordan back. And nobody wanted that more than our buddy Brandon Hurtado from Hurtado Barbecue, who offered Jordan free barbecue for life if he would sign here. And that wasn't quite enough to entice Jordan. He really wanted the money to talk, not just the barbecue, although I'm sure he was close. I'm sure that made him consider it big time. I did love John Moore, our buddy who does the weekly show with Jeff. John Moore's tweet on that was, okay, you saw the news, Jordan Montgomery is going to need Tommy John surgery. John Moore tweets, okay, I'm going to need the Diamondbacks to pick up his entire salary now. I think that trade's off the table. But yes, if they were going to trade for him, the Diamondbacks will need to pay him, not the Rangers. And we're laughing about it, and it's not funny, really, because we like Jordan, and I hate to see him have to go through this.
Yeah, and his numbers weren't great, and he got a late start. Now it kind of all makes sense, and then he secured his future at the Diamondbacks' expense. But you don't want to see guys hurt. You want to see them as good as they can be. And unfortunately for him, that's just not going to be happening.
No. So one of the great prospects in the Astros organization, Cam Smith, made the club, and he will start in right field tomorrow. And this is really one of the best announcements I've ever seen to let a guy know that he made the club. Joe Espada did the honors yesterday as the Astros announced that their great prospect, Cam Smith, made the team.
But my dream was, one day I became a major league manager, I wanted to make this special for someone. And I'm about to do that. I always said, if someone tells me, Joe, you're going to the big leagues, who will be the first person you will call? Who will be the first person you will call? I say my mom, my dad, my family, right? Because I think you want to share with someone who's been there for you from day one. Little league, travel ball, good days, bad days. So we're about to do that right now. So I'm going to make a phone call to someone, and that someone's going to come out here. It's got a special announcement to do, okay? Let's see if I can find this number. Hello? Are you here? Okay.
That is Cam Smith's mother, Stephanie. And very recently, he's been giving her just so much credit because it was just him and her. She's remarried now, and that's his stepdad. But it was just him and her in this great. And again, I'm not an Astros fan, obviously, but I am a human fan, and I just love his reaction to that news. And they brought in other family members and celebrated with him in style. Obviously, brought him to tears. It's just a really great job by Joe Espada to do that and to celebrate with really the person who Cam Smith said was most significant, most important in him getting here.
Yeah, it's and Joe Espada's right. Every time we ask, well, who's the first one you call? It's either my wife, my mom, or my dad. And so for Joe to do that, that's a pretty cool touch. This guy, had a big spring.
Yep.
He's going to replace Kyle Tucker, which is no easy task.
Big shoes.
That's a lot of pressure on a young fella, but for something that was kind of hanging in the balance, perhaps where he was going to start the year, whether it be at Sugarland or with the big club. That's cool. That's unique. You know, I really never have seen that. You know, you see guys come in and sit down in the manager's office and it's a great spring. Blah, 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 blah. We're gonna put you on the radio.
Yeah, everybody. I mean, the reaction, with the tears and stuff, probably isn't that unique. But the mom being brought in, that's very unique. I'd always loved too the stories of how guys and Bobby Jones used to be great at this for the Rangers. When he was managing AAA, but the stories about how they were informed that they were getting that call up, that major league call up. But that was a good one. That was really well done by Joe Espada and the Astros organization. So the value of the franchises has been released. I imagine this is a Forbes list. I can't remember.
I think it's the Athletic who did it.
The Athletic did this.
Yeah.
Okay, so take a look at that, and you see that the Rangers are worth $2.45 billion down there in 12th place on the list, and truly not super surprising to see any of the teams except the Astros above them. It's maybe the Orioles too. But, it's the Yankees, it's the Dodgers, Red Sox, Cubs. Those are no doubters. So are the Mets, the Phillies, too. The Braves have been there forever. Astros surprises me a little bit to make the top 10. Angels, and then who's right above
Cardinals.
them? Oh, Cardinals. Yeah, again, that's St. Louis. Yeah.
Yeah, and I haven't talked to anybody about this list, but in the last year, I've talked about what do you think this franchise is worth? A couple billion, and they're like, oh no, it's way more than that. So some people at the Rangers may think that's low, actually.
Do they? Yeah.
And I would imagine that if Ray Davis were to attempt to sell, he wouldn't ask for more than that.
There's no question,
and probably get it.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, again, I get that the Celtics are the Celtics. But the Celtics just sold for $6.1 billion. Yeah. I mean, my goodness, that is just a lot of money. So, that's an amazing amount of money nowadays that you need and you must have to. But again, and let's also remember, what did they pay? $500 million?
$593 million.
$593.
Yep.
They've made a pretty good chunk
about
of
five
change.
times their investment there.
Pretty
John,
good chunk of change.
That'll work
on this organization. So,
and that's when these owners make the money on the back end.
Yes, no doubt. Yeah. And they're probably making money, especially like in 2023 in a World Series year. They're making money year to year too.
Yeah.
But they're also spending a lot of money.
Yeah, but they might be in the red a little bit when push comes to shove. But let's say it's $50 million a year you're losing. All right, great. Yeah. I'm gonna make $2 billion on my investment.
Billions. Yeah. I can afford to lose a couple million here and there. So
and 50 I just threw out. I have no idea if that's remotely accurate.
Yeah. Who knows? And one final thing before we let you go on this day before the baseball season begins. So we always talk about squaring up the baseball or barreling the baseball. Here's a picture of it. Is that unbelievable? The ball compresses, Jeff, that much against the bat. And look, that is a perfect swing. I mean, hips are ahead, hands are steady and right there. Eye totally on the ball. I mean, that is a really cool shot.
I mean, that's Giancarlo Stanton. Nobody hits the ball harder.
No,
right? I think all the StatCast stuff bears that out. But yeah, that's and it's cool that you can get a camera to slow down and be that clear.
Yeah,
and then with all the technology that exists as far as exit velocity and things. But yeah, it's like seeing a fight. And the photographer, the ringside photographer catches it at the right time when the guy's cheek is like this, and maybe the mouthpiece goes flying out, and his eyes start rolling in the back of his head. That's a great shot.
Yeah. We mentioned Rougned Odor earlier, kind of like the still shot of the glasses flying off. And
that's something that once we get to know Kevin Pillar, we're gonna have to ask him about because he was on those Blue Jays teams.
Those Blue Jays teams, that's
so
right.
We'll have to get down to it because I'm pretty sure that Pillar had some comments about that.
I bet he does.
And in the moment he had some comments, and so I bet that
Yeah, it'd be fun to pick his brain.
Gotta have to ask about that.
Yeah, be fun to pick his brain. Baseball season begins for all of us tomorrow. We will be here for a pre and post game show tomorrow. So check us out then. We're back again tomorrow, a half hour before the game begins and about 15 minutes after the game ends. You can watch us on the DLLS Rangers podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.